What would you like to drink? Oh, I'm sorry. Whatever people drink in this place. I poured her a snowmelt vodka, the stuff I distilled for tourists, and I pushed it at her. What brings you to town, Mother Disaine? I'm looking for some real help. Instantly, her eyes were wet. I tapped the bar and drew a little closer to her. The phrase had startled me. What do you mean? Well, she said, I want to climb. Really climb, you understand? I said, most people just want a guide up to the monastery. Oh, much higher than the monastery. She took a pink gulp of her drink. Lamat, I've come all this way just to meet you. I'm honored. 12 miles up the mountain moved me more than any book ever has, except for Mr. Trang, and you can hardly help that. Slammed the glass down and smiled at me. What's Mr. Trang? An enthusiast's guide to the balloon, its workings and applications. Usually the stuff that gets me the most involves diagrams, stuff that most people would think was dry. 12 miles feels dry to me. She gave me a level look. You read it lately? No, hope never to read it again. It served its purpose. Oh, I like you, she said, and then again, as if surprised. I do. The fact is that 12 miles is untrue, although I wrote it for the same reason I'm writing this one, to puzzle out the truth. But the truth on a mountain is always unstable. The snow at its feet is only a thin layer over a crevasse. The thought is dried and pulled from its brain by desperate altitudes. All of its choices are bad, and its memory is porous and bloody. That was why I lacked the strength to go back to that book. I had just now, many thousands of days later, built a life of my own, and I had no wish to go back to the shaky little person I was then, with the truth of that disastrous expedition trembling on my lips like a nervous kiss. Then you're a balloonist, I said, carefully. She brushed down the pilgrimage patches that covered her shoulders. These are balloons, Silk, from my pilgrimages to the air. I just guessed that. And that's where I lost these, she said and held up her claw of a hand, flexing the remaining fingers. The whole arm went black as candlewick. Both of them did, and I should have suffered no ill effect, but I had to wrap it tight in one of my lines to get safely down again. Dead man's switch, you know. If I passed out, I'd pull the cord, and by the time I woke up again, the fingers were dead. You know what altitude does to people? It's like fizzy wine. She was watching my face. I've lost so much of it to frostbite that most people are uncomfortable looking close. But Disaine was the other kind of person. The one who stares at the blasted surface as if it affords an easier path to the brain. It often strikes me as a cruelty in these people, jabbing through the gray earth where the dead are buried. But Disaine was too self-absorbed for that type of cruelty. Her face split into a smile again, bright and helpless. I thought you might think it was cheating, she said. To use a balloon? Yes, I've been twice as high as you. Is that fair to say? 60,000 feet to your 30 or 35. I won't quibble. And yet you worked for it, and I didn't. Well, not in the air. But really all I did was pull a cord and fly, and I went to the same place you half died to get to. It wasn't cheating. You may as well say I cheated. I didn't have to live with the fear of having nothing under me. Oh, exactly, she said. I had neglected the opening of my bar. It was still late winter, and the sun had set early in the evening. I went to open the shades and add a log to the fire. Disaine watched me, sitting with her robe hitched up on one of my tall stools. She was tall herself, athletic, bent with age, but she knew how to use it, to make the stoop look only like an eager lean forward. And she had a crown. Have you ever met anyone like that? I call it a crown, like in a fairy tale. A mark that shimmers in the cheek when they turn. The sense of a mass of hot light floating over their head. When Disaine smiled at you...